Number 1. 1970 Cadillac Eldorado Coupe. Tucked away in the quieter corners of Wynne, Arkansas, it's a car that doesn't just represent an era of American luxury, but practically defines it. This 1970 Cadillac Eldorado Coupe, priced at $6,500, isn't simply a car someone's trying to sell. It's an artifact, a symbol, a rolling reminder when Cadillac stood tall as the standard of the world. Back in 1970, if you were successful, if you wanted to project a certain image of refinement, or if you simply wanted to ride in the most comfortable, commanding way possible, you drove a Cadillac. The Eldorado in particular wasn't aimed at families or fleets. It was aimed at individuals, people who wanted personal luxury, something indulgent and focused entirely on them. That makes this two-door coupe special from the get-go. Finished in a dignified tan exterior paired with a refined off-white interior, this car is the opposite of loud. It doesn't need bright red paint or racing stripes to make a statement. Its size, its proportions, and its styling already make that statement for it. From the long, flat hood to the formal roofline and the crisp Cadillac crest, everything about the design says confidence. Step inside and the story continues. The cabin is airy and plush, with wide seating surfaces that feel more like a sofa than a car seat. Cadillac interiors of this era were all about creating an environment of serenity. There's padding everywhere. The dash is stylish but not overwhelming, and the seats swallow you whole. Sit down, close the door, and you immediately feel the insulation from the outside world. And then there's a smell, that unmistakable combination of leather, vinyl, and the faintest whiff of age that instantly transports you back decades. Under that seemingly endless hood lies a 500 cubic inch Cadillac V8, a motor that was record-breaking in its day. At the time of its introduction, it was the largest production passenger car engine in the world. But here's the thing. It wasn't about making the Eldorado into a drag car. It was about power without effort. With mountains of torque available just off idle, this car doesn't need to scream or rev to get moving. Instead, it eases forward with authority, like a giant ocean liner leaving port, paired with an automatic transmission. The result is a driving experience that can best be described as floating. Smooth steering, supple suspension, and almost eerie quietness all come together to remind you why people used to say rides like a Cadillac. At only 45,000 miles, this car has barely lived half a life. Think about that. In over 50 years, it's traveled less than what some modern commuters rack up in just 4 or 5 years. That odometer reading tells you this wasn't an everyday beater. It was a car that was saved for special occasions, maybe weekend cruises or Sunday drives. And that careful preservation shows in how original and intact it remains today. What makes this particular example even more appealing is its authenticity. So many classics from this period get over-restored, customized, or otherwise altered. This Eldorado, though, still wears its history proudly. It hasn't been messed with, hasn't been cut up, and it retains the stance, the look, and the character it was born with. For someone who wants originality, that's a big deal. With some light cosmetic work, it could shine like it did the day it rolled out of Detroit. And let's not forget the peace of mind. It's fully paid off, comes with a clean title, and is ready to transfer to a new owner without any headaches. Now, picture this. It's a warm summer evening, the sun dipping low as you slide into the driver's seat. You turn the key and the massive V8 hums to life with a gentle, authoritative rumble. The car settles into a smooth idle, and you ease it out onto the open road. As you cruise through town, people glance over. Some nod in recognition. Others simply stare at the sheer size of it. Kids on bikes whisper to each other, "What is that?" Older folks smile knowingly, remembering a time when cars like this ruled the streets. That's the magic this Eldorado offers. It's not just transportation, it's presence, it's history. It's an experience that $6,500 buys you outright. Number 2, 1985 Buick LeSabre Limited. Over in Villa Rica, Georgia, a very different kind of classic American car waits for its next caretaker. This is a 1985 Buick LeSabre Limited, affectionately nicknamed LAR by its original owner, who is also the one offering it for sale today. Priced at $6,000, It represents a slice of the mid-1980s when Buick was still riding high as a brand synonymous with comfort, quietness, and reliability. The car wears a deep blue exterior matched with blue interior, a combination that screams 1980s GM but in the best possible way. It's the kind of car you'd see pulling into a country club parking lot or parked in front of a suburban home, with a perfectly manicured lawn. The lines are boxy yet graceful, with enough chrome to add flash, but not so much that it becomes gaudy. Inside, the car is a time capsule. Buick built its reputation on interiors that made you feel home, and this LeSabre doesn't disappoint. The wide cloth seats are soft and forgiving, the kind of seating you can sink into during a long highway trip. The dash is padded. The door panels have that signature 80s GM look with wood grain accents, and everything is built to prioritize comfort over sportiness. Slide behind the wheel, and you can almost hear the faint sound of an AM/FM radio playing soft jazz or oldies, because that's exactly the kind of environment this car was meant to create. This particular LeSabre shows 133,000 miles on the odometer. That number might sound high, but for a car that's nearly 40 years old, it's a testament to its durability. And more importantly, the seller insists it still runs and drives beautifully. No odd noises, no warning lights, no mechanical distress. The automatic transmission shifts just the way it should, smooth and deliberate. This isn't a car you race. It's a car you glide in. The fact that it's still owned by its original owner is significant. That kind of continuity almost always means a car was maintained with care. No sketchy histories, no questions about where it's been. Just one person who kept it going all these years, enjoying it without abusing it. And that explains why it still carries itself so well today. This LeSabre isn't a showstopper in the sense of rarity or performance, but it doesn't need to be. Its appeal lies in its honesty. In a world where so many 80s sedans have disappeared, scrapped, or rusted into oblivion, here's one that survived. Intact, original, and still very much usable. Think of it as a time capsule. You're not buying a car to dominate car shows or racetracks. You're buying something you can take to a weekend cruise in, park under the lights, and watch as people smile and say, "I remember when my parents had one of these." Or you can simply enjoy it as a reliable, comfortable, vintage daily driver. Something that turns every errand into a trip back in time. Number 3. 1976 Lincoln Continental Signature Series. From Nolanville, Tennessee, comes a car that's impossible to ignore. A 1976 Lincoln Continental Signature Series, priced at $8,000. If Cadillac was a standard of luxury, Lincoln was the master of excess, and this car proves it. At nearly 20 feet long, this Continental is less of a car and more of a statement. Just pulling up to a stoplight, and one makes people stare. It's enormous, it's elegant, and it has that unmistakable road presence that only a 1970s American luxury car can deliver. This particular example has only 58,123 original miles, making it a remarkably well-preserved survivor. Power comes from the massive 460 cubic inch Ford 5.8, paired with a rock-solid C6 automatic transmission. It's not about speed, it's about effortlessness. With torque to spare, the car glides down the road with grace. It doesn't hurry, it doesn't strain. It simply cruises, exactly the way Lincoln intended. What really makes this one stand out, though, is the maintenance it's received. The seller lists a full brake system overhaul, brand new tires, a new battery, new alternator, and even upgrades to the Holley carburetor and fuel system. Fresh fluids throughout mean this isn't just a pretty face. It's a mechanically sorted cruiser ready to hit the highway today. And yes, the air conditioning blows ice cold, and the cruise control works too, meaning all those luxury features are intact. Inside, the Signature Series treatment takes over. Plush leather, thick carpets, and chrome trim make the cabin feel like a rolling living room. Close the door and the outside world disappears. This is a car built for long road trips, the kind where you and your passengers can ride for hours in total comfort, floating on that soft suspension, while the big V8 hums quietly under the hood. And here's something interesting. The seller is open to trades, particularly for classic trucks of equal value. That kind of flexibility opens a door for buyers who might not have the cash but do have something interesting sitting in their garage. If you're looking for a stately cruiser, something that embodies pure 1970s swagger, This Lincoln delivers it all: presence, comfort, and a mechanical pedigree that's been carefully preserved. Number 4. 1972 Chevrolet Nova. In Orange, New Jersey, with storage in Edison. It's a very different kind of offering. A 1972 Chevrolet Nova project car, priced at $3,500. Unlike the others, this one isn't ready to drive. In fact, it's not even close. But what it does have is potential, and a lot of it. The seller is up front. This Nova doesn't run, doesn't have an engine, and doesn't have a transmission. What you're buying here is essentially a rolling shell with a clean title. And for some enthusiasts, that's all you need: a solid foundation to build something incredible. Now, it's not without its challenges. Rust is present, both surface and more serious corrosion in the quarters and underbody. The seller admits it will need significant work, but also notes that detailed undercarriage pictures are available. That transparency is key for project hunters. And to sweeten the deal, the seller has brand new full quarter panels available for extra cost, which will save a lot of time and money in the restoration process. For some people, a project like this is a headache, but for others, it's a dream. The Nova platform is beloved for its versatility. You can build into a stock restoration, a drag racer, a pro touring Restomod with modern suspension and LS power. The possibilities are endless. And because Novas are lighter and more compact than their big block cousins like the Chevelle, they've always been popular with hot rodders. The seller isn't desperate to move it, saying they're just testing the waters. That means they know what they have: a desirable year Nova with paperwork, ready for someone with vision. For the right buyer, this isn't just a rusty shell, it's a blank canvas. Number 5. 1967 Buick Wildcat. Last but not least, over in Deville, Connecticut, currently stored in Burrowville, Rhode Island, is a car that embodies 1960s American muscle luxury. The 1967 Buick Wildcat, offered at just $3,200. The Wildcat was Buick's big, powerful coupe, part luxury, part brute force. This example carries a massive 455 cubic inch V8, a torque-heavy motor that gave the car its reputation for being ferocious when pushed. But right now, it's sleeping. The car hasn't been on the road for about a year, and it needs work. The seller is straightforward about the issues. The front axles need replacement, the timing needs to be set, and the keys have been lost. It's not a turnkey cruiser, but it's also not a basket case. In fact, the seller claims the underside is in excellent condition, better than newer cars, in their own words. That's a huge advantage, because with classics like this, rust in the frame and floors can be a deal breaker. Having a solid foundation is half the battle. The car currently comes with registration only, but the seller says they can likely obtain the title for a serious buyer. Photos are a bit outdated, and it could use a good cleaning, but what you're really getting here is potential. For someone who knows Buicks, this car is a diamond in the rough. It's big, it's bold, and it's got one of the most legendary Buick engines under the hood. Whether you want to restore it, revive it as a driver, or build it into something wild, the bones are there. And at $3,200, it's priced to move. Number 6. Offer at $7,000 and currently located in Vincenttown, New Jersey. This 1995 Buick Roadmaster Limited Sedan 4D is one of those rare survivors from a final era of truly full-size American luxury sedans. If you think back to the mid-1990s, most manufacturers were moving away from the traditional body-on-frame, rear-wheel drive formula. Chrysler had downsized. Ford was already preparing to shift more of its fleet toward front-wheel drive layouts. Imports from Japan and Europe were taking over the luxury segment with more efficient, smaller, and sharper handling cars. And yet, Buick kept the faith for just a little longer with the Roadmaster, a car that carried the DNA of the classic American highway cruiser, unapologetically big, unapologetically smooth, and built to soak up miles like no other. This particular car shows just 98,000 miles, which, for something nearly 30 years old, is relatively low. The real headline, however, is what's under the hood: the 5.7-liter LT1 V8. This is not some ordinary sedan engine. It's the very same power plant that was dropped into the Corvette of the era. Sure, Buick tuned it more for torque and smoothness than outright performance, but the bones are the same. And that means this car doesn't just waft along lazily. It has the muscle to move with authority. Step lightly on the throttle, and you'll feel a confident surge of power, the kind that makes merging, passing, or simply stretching its legs on a highway a joy. For many enthusiasts, the LT1 Roadmasters are the crown jewel of the line because they combine luxury, size, and real performance credentials in one big package, being the limited trim. This Roadmaster came from the factory absolutely loaded with amenities that, at the time, made it one of the best appointed sedans on the road. You got automatic climate control to keep the cabin perfectly regulated without fuss. Tilt steering makes it easy to find a comfortable driving position. All the expected power features are there: windows, locks, and heated mirrors, as well as power steering and power brakes for effortless operation. Out back, there's a rear window defogger for those frosty mornings. But the real showpiece of the interior is the seating. A plush split front bench seat, designed so both driver and passenger could ride in maximum comfort. And unlike the old days when only the driver had adjustments, here both seats are individually power adjustable. It's a throwback to the time when cars were built for all-day road trips, where you could float along the interstate for hundreds of miles and step out the other end still feeling refreshed. The seller is upfront about recent maintenance, and it's the sort of list you want to see when shopping for an older classic. The car has received brand new brake lines, brake shoes, and rotors, giving confidence that the stopping power is there when you need it. A fresh set of tires has been fitted, with only a few hundred miles of wear on them, so you're set for years of worry-free driving. A new alternator keeps the electrical system healthy. And perhaps most importantly, there's a 5-year paper trail of documented repairs and upkeep. That paper trail is worth its weight in gold. It means you're not buying someone else's neglect. Instead, you're stepping into a car with proof of consistent care. Naturally, with a 30-year-old car, there are quirks. The rear windows sometimes slip off their tracks, though the seller is including the necessary replacement parts, making a repair rather than problem. The driver's seat upholstery could use attention, but it remains comfortable and functional as is. The gas and engine temperature gauges are currently non-functional, something a future owner will want to address. But the big picture is this: the car starts, runs, and drives. It's ready to be enjoyed today, and with a little TLC, it could easily be brought up to excellent condition. For anyone who wants a car that represents the last gasp of a true American luxury sedan, this is it. The Roadmaster Limited isn't just a big old Buick. It's a cruiser with character, comfort, and Corvette-bred power hiding under the hood. Clean examples are getting harder to find, and enthusiasts have already started snapping them up. This one offers a chance to own a usable, documented, and desirable classic at a fair price. Number 7. Priced at $6,800 and located in Port Chester, New York, this 1973 Chevrolet El Camino is one of those finds that almost sounds too good to be true. It's described as a genuine barn find, tucked away since 1982, meaning it has been sitting unseen and untouched for more than 4 decades. To a collector or restorer, that's music to the ears, because originality and long-term storage often mean you're getting a blank canvas that hasn't been ruined by decades of questionable modifications. The El Camino itself is an icon of American automotive culture. Half car, half truck. It was Chevrolet's clever solution for drivers who wanted muscle car style, but also needed utility. By 1973, the El Camino was based on Chevy's midsize A-body platform, which gave the proportions of Chevelle up front with the added versatility of a pickup bed in the rear. The result was one of the most versatile vehicles of its time, able to carry lumber during the day and show up at a Friday night cruising looking sharp. This particular El Camino is powered by a 350 cubic inch V8 paired with an automatic transmission. Both are believed to be original, and that's huge for collectors. Originality equals authenticity. In the world of classic cars, authenticity equals value. The odometer shows 60,000 miles, and the seller believes this to be accurate. That is astonishingly low for a vehicle that's more than 50 years old. Of course, after sitting for 40 plus years, it's not in running condition. Any serious buyer should expect to go through the essentials: the fuel system, the brakes, the ignition system, cooling, electricals, you name it. Rubber parts degrade, fluids break down, and system seize up after that much time in hibernation. But the good news is that the car appears complete and largely stock. Too often, You find project cars where parts have gone missing or been swapped out with incorrect replacements. This one looks like the real deal, a time capsule just waiting to be awakened. Once revived, it has the potential to become a truly special piece of 1970s Americana. Think about it. An original 73 El Camino with a factory 350 low miles and a straight body, that's a rare find in today's market. And beyond the collector value, it's just a cool car. There's nothing else on the road that looks quite like an El Camino, and its dual-purpose design makes it stand out at every show or gathering. The seller is clear about expectations. This is a car for serious buyers only. If you're a Chevy enthusiast, if you've been looking for a project that's worth putting time into, or if you simply love the idea of saving a rare classic from further obscurity, this is one you don't want to pass by. Opportunities like this, true barn finds with originality and low mileage, don't come up every day. Number 8, offered at $7,500, or best offer in Dallas, Texas. This 1978 Cadillac Coupe DeVille is the very definition of a classic American luxury coupe. Finished in a deep burgundy exterior with a matching red interior, it carries the unmistakable presence that Cadillac was famous for in the 1970s. Long lines, chrome accents, and an aura of sophistication that said you had arrived. This particular car shows 168,000 miles, and in all that time, it's had just 2 owners. That sort of continuity usually means the car has been cared for with some degree of pride, rather than being passed around like a used appliance. Best of all, the title is clean and paid off, so there are no complications standing in the way of a smooth transaction. Power comes from a Cadillac V8 engine paired with an automatic transmission. No one ever pretended these were performance machines, but that wasn't the point. The point was comfort. The Coupe DeVille of the late 70s was a car you bought if you want to glide down the boulevard, turn heads at the country club, or cruise the interstate in hushed silence. And even today, it still does exactly that. Behind the wheel, you get the sense of commanding something substantial. The car floats, the cabin stays quiet, and the world outside seems to pass by just a little more smoothly. According to the seller, this car is in good running condition with no major mechanical issues. It's not a perfect showpiece, but that could be a good thing. This is a Cadillac you can actually use. Take it out to dinner, bring it to a weekend cruise, or enjoy on the open road, without feeling like you're risking a priceless museum piece. That makes it a great entry point for someone who wants to experience classic Cadillac ownership without spending a fortune. Stylistically, the 1978 Coupe DeVille is everything people love about old-school Cadillacs. It's long, low, wide, and dripping with chrome. The big grille, the sharp fender lines, the opera windows, the vinyl roof. Every detail screams 1970s luxury. Park it anywhere and it draws attention, because you simply don't see cars like this on the road anymore. The seller is motivated, emphasizing that the car must go. No trades, no gimmicks, just a straight sale. For someone who wants to capture the essence of Cadillac's glory years, this is a tempting opportunity. Number 9, listed at $6,000 in Skiatook, Oklahoma. This 1981 Chevrolet Malibu is one of those sleepers that blends classic looks with serious performance upgrades. To the casual observer, it might look like just another early ADSG body with a flashy red paint job, but under the hood, it's packing a combination that was clearly put together by someone who knew what they were doing. The power plant is a 350 cubic inch V8, already a proven platform for performance builds. But this isn't a bone stock small block. It's paired with a 700R4 overdrive automatic transmission, which not only makes it quicker off the line, but also more livable on the highway compared to the older 3-speed autos. Add in a 2,200 stall converter, a Comp Cam's 268 valve train for stronger mid-range torque, an Edelbrock EPS intake, and a Holley 750 carburetor, and you got an engine that's both powerful and responsive. On the exhaust side, ceramic Flowtech headers and a chambered dual exhaust system let the engine breathe and give the kind of sound that turns heads. Put it all together, and what you have is a Malibu that doesn't just look the part, it's built to deliver. This is a car that wants to be driven hard, whether that's cruising Main Street on a Saturday night or lining up at the drag strip. It's got the bones to be fast, loud, and fun. That said, it has been sitting for a few years, so a new owner should expect to go through the basics before firing it up. Fluids need to be changed. The fuel system should be flushed, the brakes inspected. Standard revival work. But once sorted, you're looking at a muscle car project that's already had a lot of hard work done. What makes this listing even more interesting is the seller's openness to trades. They mention interest in a 250 cubic centimeters or larger dirt bike, a jet ski, acoustic guitars, or straight cash. That flexibility opens the door for buyers who might have something to barter with, making the deal even more appealing. For anyone wanting a classic G body with real muscle under the hood and plenty of potential, this Malibu is worth serious consideration. It's priced right, it's got the right parts, and it offers a kind of project that could quickly become a favorite weekend toy. Number 10. Finally, in Channelview, Texas, priced at $8,000, is a car that embodies the boxy charm of 1980s GM coupes, the 1983 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. The Monte Carlo was one of Chevrolet's most recognizable personal coupes, and for good reason. It offered clean styling, rear-wheel drive, and a platform that enthusiasts love to modify, race, and preserve. This particular example is finished in crisp white paint with a blue interior, a sharp and period-correct combination that highlights the car's lines. The odometer reads just 64,000 miles, which is exceptionally low for a vehicle that's more than 40 years old. It also comes with a clean blue Texas title, fully paid off and ready to transfer. Under the hood is the original SS305 cubic inch V8, paired with a 200R automatic transmission that's been fitted with a shift kit. That small tweak gives the car firmer, sportier gear changes, making it more fun to drive without compromising daily usability. The seller describes it as neat, clean, and fully functional, which means it's a car you can hop in and enjoy right away. The Monte Carlo sits on GM's beloved G-body platform, which was shared with other popular models of the era, like the Buick Regal and Oldsmobile Cutlass. Enthusiasts love these cars because they're simple, rugged, and endlessly customizable. Whether you want to keep it stock, build it into a drag car, or just enjoy it as a weekend cruiser, the Monte Carlo is a perfect foundation. The seller is firm on the price and not interested in trades, which makes it clear they're looking for serious buyers only. And honestly, that's fair. In today's market, where clean 1980s G bodies are becoming harder and harder to find, this Monte Carlo stands out. At $8,000, it's priced right for condition, mileage, and originality on offer. For someone who grew up around these cars, or simply appreciates the boxy style of 1980s Chevrolet coupes, this Monte Carlo is a chance to step back in time and own a piece of GM history. Number 11. At just $1,800, sitting quietly in Cumberland, Maryland, what we have here is a 1969 Chevrolet Impala Sport Coupe, a car that, even in its current state, manages to spark the imagination of anyone who loves classic American iron. This isn't a polished showpiece that's been trailered from one concours event to another. No, this is a kind of honest, bare-bones rolling project that makes people stop, tilt their heads, and say, yeah, I could do something with that. And that's exactly the point. This Impala isn't finished. It's a foundation. Let's get the obvious out of the way. There is no engine and there is no transmission. For someone who just wants to buy a car, turn the key and drive off, that's a deal breaker. But for real enthusiasts, it's the opposite. It's a blessing. It means you're not stuck dealing with a half-running small block that smokes like a chimney or a tired transmission that slips more than it shifts. Instead, you've got a clean slate. You hold the pen, you write the story. So what do you want this car to be? If you're a purist, maybe you're already thinking about hunting down a correct big block or small block and doing a faithful numbers matching restoration. Imagine bringing it back to exactly how it rolled out of Chevrolet dealership back in '69, when the Impala was a top seller and the highways were full of these big-bodied coupes. On the other hand, if you're the kind of builder who loves restomods, this car is basically begging for an LS swap, fuel-injected power, modern reliability, maybe a beefy overdrive transmission, and suspension tweaks that would make it handle far better than anything from its era. Either way, the lack of drivetrain here is not a loss. It's a blank canvas. The body itself tells a story. It's not pristine, but it hasn't been hacked up either. It wears a kind of natural patina that can only come from surviving decades without being over-restored or ruined by bad bodywork. What you're seeing is Survivor, Honest sheet metal that carries character in every line and every bit of weathered paint. That's a rare thing today, when so many old cars have either rusted into the ground or been over-polished to the point of losing their authenticity. Structurally, it's got solid bones. The frame is described as solid, and here's the real headline. The trunk pan is rust-free. Anyone who knows these cars understands how big of a deal that is. So many late 60s Chevrolets rotted away from the back forward, but this one managed to avoid that fate. The floor pans are said to be in good shape too, which only adds to the appeal, because floor work is one of those jobs nobody enjoys tackling. Originally, this was a Virginia car, which explains part of its survival. It hasn't been through decades of brutal northern winters, and as a result, it still carries good bones. Even better, it comes with a clean title, ready to be signed over to its next caretaker. No headaches, no lost paperwork, just a straightforward deal. Now, let's be clear, this is not a running or driving vehicle in its current state, but for those who see beauty and raw potential, for those who understand that the dream is in the build, this '69 Impala is a diamond in the rough. For $1,800 or best offer, you're buying more than just a car. You're buying possibility. You're buying a chance to shape a piece of late 60s GM muscle into whatever your heart desires. Number 12. Sitting in Madison, Virginia, with a price tag of just $4,000, is something that should make any Chevrolet enthusiast perk up. A 1973 Chevrolet Monte Carlo with a rare factory-installed 454 big block. Now, Monte Carlos of this era were already stylish, well-loved personal luxury coupes, but very few were ordered with the mighty 454 under the hood. That makes this car more than just another old Chevy. It makes it a survivor from the muscle era, one of the rare examples that managed to blend comfort with real power. This one's not just about the engine, though from the factory. It came with bucket seats, a center console, and even a factory tachometer. You don't often see all those options bundled together in one car, and that's part of what makes this Monte Carlo unique. Inside, you can picture the way it must have looked when new. An interior that was sporty yet comfortable, built for the driver who wanted to cruise in style, but also keep an eye on that tatch as the big block roared under load. The odometer shows 96,217 actual miles. And there's a real sense of history with this car. It's still titled in the name of its original Virginia owner, who sadly passed away in 1999. After that, the car sat in limbo, parked and waiting, almost like it was holding its breath for 2 decades. Only recently has it been coaxed back to life, enough to start and move under its own power. That's no small thing, because it means the heart still beats, even if it needs care. Of course, time has taken its toll. This Monte Carlo does need a full restoration. The floor pans, the rear quarter panels, and the trunk all show the familiar signs of rust that come from years of sitting. The interior, too, has suffered from sun damage, the kind of fading and cracking that tells its own story about years left exposed. But here's the thing. The core is there. The rare bits are there. It even comes with OEM GM front bumper fillers, small details, but details that matter to anyone serious about a proper restoration. The brakes are functional, which is encouraging, though the car will still need attention before it's roadworthy. For someone who dreams about resurrecting a big block beast, this is it. It's not finished, but that's exactly why it's special. It's priced within reach, it has the bones, and once brought back, it'll be a rare, factory big block Monte Carlo with the kind of pedigree that commands respect wherever it goes. Number 13. Offered at $7,000 and located in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, this 1982 Chevrolet El Camino is one of those vehicles that perfectly embodies Chevrolet's knack for blurring the lines between car and truck. With 144,739 miles on the odometer, this one has been driven, but it hasn't been abused. It's a clean, well-preserved example of an icon that combined the practicality of a pickup with the style and comfort of a coupe, finished in a tasteful gray exterior with a matching gray interior. It projects a kind of understated cool. Not flashy, not overdone, just quietly confident. It looks like something that could pull up at a job site during the day and then cruise to the local drive-in at night without skipping a beat. That's the dual personality of the El Camino. It's a vehicle that could wear many hats. and this example carries a heritage well. Mechanically, it's described as solid. The automatic transmission delivers a smooth drive, and the seller says it runs and drives well. So this isn't a drag it home on a trailer and let it sit for 2 years kind of project. This is something you can get in, turn the key, and enjoy right away. The only noted faults are the windshield wipers and washer pump being non-functional. But really, that's minor stuff. For anyone who's ever turned a wrench, that's a Saturday afternoon fix at most. It's being sold with a clean title, which is always reassuring. And overall, it represents a kind of dependable, usable classic that's getting harder to find. For the buyer who wants a vintage car but doesn't want the headache of a complete ground-up restoration, this El Camino is a perfect middle ground. It's affordable, stylish, and still has utility. Whether you're a Chevy fan, a collector, or just someone who loves the idea of driving something different, this 82 El Camino is worth a serious look. Number 14. Priced at only $4,000 and available in Nashville, Tennessee, this 1983 Buick Riviera Coupe is a striking reminder of an era when personal luxury coupes ruled American roads. Dressed in crisp white paint with a bold red interior, this Riviera is a picture of early 80s style. But the real showstopper here isn't the color combination, it's the mileage. Just 25,133 miles. That's it. In more than 40 years' existence, this Riviera has traveled less than many modern cars do in a single year. It's not often you find something like this, because most cars from this era were daily drivers, transportation appliances that racked up miles until they were worn out. This one somehow escaped that fate, surviving with mileage so low it almost feels frozen in time, under the hood and behind the wheel. It's equipped with an automatic transmission and is reported to run and drive well. That means it's not just a static showpiece. It's something you can actually enjoy on the open road. Add in the fact that it hasn't fallen victim to heavy rust. And you've got a car that offers both preservation and usability. Recently, it's had a complete brake overhaul, making it safer and more reliable right out of the gate. Because it's being sold through a dealer, buyers will have to account for sales tax. But that doesn't change the core value here. What you're getting is a clean, low-mileage Buick Riviera, a personal luxury coupe that carries the charm of its era in every line of its body and every detail of its interior. For someone who wants to capture the spirit of 80s American luxury without breaking the bank or committing to a long restoration, this Riviera is a fantastic choice. Number 15. Down in West Palm Beach, Florida, priced at $7,000, sits another take on Chevrolet's beloved coupe pickup hybrid, a 1980 Chevrolet El Camino. This one, finished in classic black, brings a little extra attitude to the table, combining utility and muscle-inspired styling in a way that never really went out of fashion. With 87,999 miles, it's been enjoyed but not abused. It still has plenty of life left, and according to the seller, it runs well. Equipped with an automatic transmission, it delivers the kind of laid-back driving experience that makes these cars so versatile. Whether you want to use it for light hauling, weekend cruising, or just as a conversation piece at local shows, it's ready to play the part. One detail that adds real value here is the inclusion of a large collection of spare parts. Anyone who's ever owned an older car knows how big of a deal that is. Having those extras on hand means fewer parts hunting headaches down the road and more freedom to tinker, upgrade, or restore at your own pace. The seller hasn't provided much detail on the condition of the interior, but the car's overall usability and completeness suggest it's a solid foundation. It's the kind of vehicle you could drive as is while slowly improving it over time, a project and a driver rolled into one. At $7,000, it's priced fairly for what it is, a drivable, presentable El Camino that gives you entry into the world of classic Chevrolets without overwhelming cost. Whether you're into light restorations, custom builds, or just the idea of owning something that's part car and part truck, this El Camino checks a lot of boxes. Number 16. 1969 Ford Falcon, $3,900, Wattsburg, Pennsylvania. Sitting quietly in a small town in Wattsburg, Pennsylvania, with a modest asking price of just $3,900, is a car that represents a simpler era of American motoring, the 1969 Ford Falcon. Now, for many people, the Falcon name may not stir the same immediate emotions as a Mustang, Camaro, or Chevelle, But in its day, the Falcon was absolutely essential to Ford's lineup. It was a car that put America on wheels in the early 1960s, providing affordable transportation to millions of families who didn't need or couldn't afford a larger Galaxy or Fairlane. By 1969, the Falcon had evolved into a practical compact with clean styling, simple mechanics, and a reputation for reliability. This particular example wears a soft yellow finish that has aged gracefully into a kind of patina you can't replicate with a paint booth. It's faded, sure, but it's also charming, a true badge of survival. When you look at it, you know this car has seen driveways, parking lots, grocery store runs, and Sunday family outings. It hasn't been over-restored or artificially shined up. It's real. Inside, things are just as humble but every bit as authentic. A black interior contrasts with the yellow exterior, with a steel dashboard that reminds you just how simple cars once were. Forget touchscreens, heated seats, or a dozen warning lights. Here you've got a bench seat column shifter and analog gauges that do exactly what they're supposed to do. It's bare-bones transportation, and that's what makes it cool today. Under the hood is Ford's tried-and-true 170 cubic inch inline-six engine, paired with an automatic transmission. It wasn't about power or performance. It was about getting you from point A to point B with minimal fuss. The odometer reads 52,325 miles, and based on the car's overall presentation, there's every chance that's original. Think about that, a car that's been around for over half a century and has averaged barely 1,000 miles a year. Now, here's the thing, the Falcon starts, runs, and moves under its own power. That alone sets it apart from a lot of project cars at this price. But it isn't ready for the road just yet. The brakes don't work and the gas tank leaks. Those are things that need sorting before you can cruise legally, but they're not deal breakers. The important part is the car is complete and hasn't been hacked up or hot rodded into something else. So what do you do with it? That's the beauty of Falcon. It's a blank canvas. You could restore it faithfully to factory condition with fresh paint, polished chrome, and a tidy interior. Or you could go the other way, drop an AV8, beef up the suspension, and build a sleeper that looks plain but surprises everyone when the light turns green. Either way, you're started with honest bones. At under $4,000, this is one of the most approachable ways into classic car ownership today. The Falcon isn't just a car, it's a piece of history. Without it, there would be no Mustang, no Comet, no Fairlane Evolution. This survivor deserves a second chance at life. And for the right buyer, it's a project with endless possibilities. Number 17, 1979 AMC Concord. $7,000, Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. Sitting proudly in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, with a price tag of $7,000, is this 1979 AMC Concord. A true one-owner car with just 80,000 original miles. Now, AMC may not have the same name recognition as Ford, Chevrolet, or Dodge, but for enthusiasts, AMC represents something special, a company that dared to be different. The Concord was AMC's answer to the demand for small, fuel-efficient cars during the late 70s energy crisis, but they didn't want to build something bland. They wanted to blend practicality with comfort, creating a car that could compete with imports while still feeling American. This one is particularly special because it's still completely original, down to the paint and trim. That kind of authenticity is incredibly rare. Finished in deep black, the exterior has a certain understated presence, almost formal in its demeanor. Step inside and you're greeted with a vivid red interior, a bold choice that screams 1970s Americana. Today, it feels retro and stylish in a way that's impossible to replicate. The squared-off body lines, shiny chrome accents, and upright stance are all trademarks of AMC design at the time. While the seller doesn't specify the exact engine, the Concord was commonly offered with AMC's reliable inline-six or a small V8 with an automatic transmission. It would have been aimed at ease of use and smooth driving rather than outright performance. Still, AMC engines are known for being sturdy, and they give this car plenty of character. What makes this Concord so compelling is its story. A one-owner car is always special because it tells you something about how it was treated. This wasn't a car that got passed around between half a dozen owners who neglected it. This was likely someone's pride and joy, bought new and kept for decades, possibly even as part of the family. The fact that it has survived in untouched, original condition is remarkable. AMC vehicles often fly under the radar, which means they remain more affordable than their big three counterparts. But for enthusiasts, that's an opportunity. While everyone else is chasing the same Mustangs and Camaros, you could own something unique, authentic, and full of history. At $7,000, this is an accessible way to grab a true survivor and preserve a piece of overlooked American history. For the right buyer, this isn't just a car, it's a time capsule. Number 18. 1978 Ford LTD police car. $3,500, Rochester, New York. Now here's something you don't see every day. A 1978 Ford LTD that once served as a Connecticut State Trooper car, offered at $3,500 in Rochester, New York. This isn't your average big body sedan. It's a piece of law enforcement history, built with performance hardware that set it apart from the LTDs parked in suburban driveways. Under its hood lies the mighty 460 cubic inch C-Code V8, backed by the bulletproof C6 automatic transmission and a 9-inch rear end with factory disc brakes. This was serious equipment, designed for pursuit duty at high speeds on the open highway. While most civilian LTDs were built for comfort, this one was built to chase down speeders and command respect. After sitting idle for almost 20 years, the car has been brought back to life with an impressive list of mechanical work. A new aluminum radiator and hoses, rebuilt alternator, new fuel pump, fresh sending unit and filler neck, double roller timing chain advanced 4 degrees, and a completely refreshed ignition system with distributor, coil, plugs, and wires. It now breathes through an Edelbrock aluminum intake and a rebuilt Holley 600 carburetor, making it both durable and responsive. Even the heater core and hoses are new, along with valve cover gaskets. The frame is solid, a huge plus in this price range, though the body shows typical East Coast scars, including quarter panel rust and holes in the floor. That's par for the course on a 40-plus-year-old car, especially one that lived in the Northeast. The important part is that the mechanical foundation is strong. The car originally had air conditioning, though the AOC and smog parts have been removed. The seller still has them, so if you want to return it to stock, you can. Right now, it's running, driving, and registered, though there are some quirks. Small oil leaks and a gas gauge that reads full all the time. Still, those are minor compared to the work that's already been completed. At $3,500 or best offer, this is a unique opportunity to own a real-deal ex-police cruiser with a big block heart. Whether you restore it to factory highway patrol spec or turn it into a sleeper street machine, this LTD is character, history, and raw power. Number 19. 1981 GMC 1500 square body, $5,000, Frisco, Texas. In Frisco, Texas, priced at $5,000, sits a classic pickup that needs no introduction to truck fans. A 1981 GMC 1500 regular cab long bed, one of the now iconic square body trucks. With roughly 150,000 miles showing, this one has been around the block, but thanks to a rebuilt V8 engine, it's already halfway to a second life. Finished in black, the body carries that unmistakable square body silhouette. Clean lines, square fenders, and a kind of stance that just looks right whether stock, lifted, or lowered. It's a timeless design that has aged beautifully, and it's no wonder these trucks have exploded in popularity in recent years. Mechanically, it's set up with an automatic transmission feeding the rear wheels and a new exhaust system that gives it a proper V8 rumble. While the seller doesn't share interior details, the long bed layout means it's as practical as it is good looking. What's great about trucks like this is their versatility. Some owners take them down the resto-mod route, adding modern suspension, brakes, and interiors. Others keep them stock, embracing their original work truck charm. Still others slam them to the ground with big wheels and turn them into street cruisers. This GMC could be any of those things, depending on your vision. At $5,000, it's a smart buy. The square body market is hot. Prices are climbing, and trucks like this are becoming harder to find in solid, running condition. Whether you want a weekend cruiser, a workhorse with vintage style, or a platform for a custom build, this GMC is a strong foundation with plenty of life left in it. Number 20. 1984 Chevrolet Caprice Classic, $1,300. For just $1,300, you could take home this 1984 Chevrolet Caprice Classic, a boxy, full-size sedan with massive potential. It's not running at the moment, but don't dismiss it. This is one of those raw project cars that could go in any number of directions. Power comes from a 305 cubic inch V8 with a cam, paired to an automatic transmission. The seller notes it was driven home recently, which means it isn't a dead car. It just needs some attention before it's back on the road. For now, it'll need to be towed. The Caprice Classic is one of the most versatile platforms of the 1980s. Some folks turned them into sleepers, stuffing them with modern LS engines and suspension upgrades. Others build lowriders with flashy paint, hydraulics, and wire wheels, because in certain circles, the Caprice is a cultural icon, and still others keep them stock, restoring them to their original glory as the family sedans they once were. At this price, the car is a blank canvas. It's not about what it is right now. It's about what it could become, and the seller makes it simple. $1,300 firm. No games, no haggling. If you're serious, you bring cash and trailer, and it's yours. For someone willing to wrench, this is one of the cheapest entries into the world of classic full-size American cars you'll find. With a little vision and a lot of elbow grease, it could be a cruiser, a show car, or even a performance sleeper. At the very least, it's a lot of car for money, and a rare chance to grab a genuine project that won't break the bank.